What are the pros and the cons of cruising with Princess Cruises? I'm Gary Bembridge. This is another of my tips for travelers. I'm on board a Princess cruise at the moment, and I thought it would be a really good time to share with you what I think are the pros and are the cons of cruising with Princess. So let's start first of all with the pros. I think one of the biggest pros of Princess Cruises is just their size and the range of opportunities they give you, both in terms of size of cruise ship and also destinations. They have, at the time of recording, 17 ships, but with many more coming on tap. So in the next couple of years, they're going to have way over 20 ships. And they have small ships with just under 700 guests up to what I'm on now, Sky Princess, with 3,660 guests. And so they have a lot of options in terms of size of ship, but really importantly, pretty much anywhere in the world you want to go, you probably can do it on a Princess cruise. One of the most important regions for them is actually Alaska. In 2019, they had been in Alaska for over 50 years. And what's really interesting about Princess is not only do they cruise to Alaska, but they also own different lodges. So you can also do land-based activities as part of a whole Princess cruise land and cruise combined vacation. They even have specific train journeys which will take you off the ship and to the various parts of Alaska on a land-based trip. But they cruise everywhere. So you'll find them in the Caribbean, the Mediterranean, Australia, the South Pacific, Mexican Riviera. They'll go through the Panama Canal, Canada, New England, world cruises. You can do anything from a 3 or 4 day cruise up to over 100-day cruises on Princess. So there's a huge range in terms of ships and itineraries. So pretty much anywhere in the world you want to go, you're probably going to be able to go on a Princess cruise. I think that's one really big pro. I think the second big pro is the type of cruising they offer. So they offer the premium luxury type of travel, but at a more affordable price. So they compete, I would say, with lines like Celebrity or Holland America. So they're at that sort of quality and range. But because they have a huge range of not only ships, but also types of cabins, so you can do it in a very affordable way. So you can go in a luxury way, in a premium way, but also within your budget. So you have everything from big palatial suites. So for example, Sky Princess, which I'm on now, has Sky Suites. These are monstrous big 2-bedroom suites, and they have then balcony suites, which I was staying in, which is the main class of suites. They have ocean view suites, they have inside suites, they have suites, mini suites. So a huge and diverse range of cabins. So you can travel in luxury, but you can also then do it within different budget ranges. So definitely a luxury premium experience, but in an affordable way. I think that's a big pro for Princess Cruises. Another big pro of Princess is they offer a traditional cruise experience. So they don't go for lots of gimmicks and some of the more sort of funky and unusual ways of cruising. They offer a pretty traditional cruising experience. So if you are the sort of person that likes a traditional cruising experience with the sort of activities you would expect, so production shows, quizzes, bingo, and facilities like, you want pools and fitness centers and casinos and spas, kids clubs, all the traditional things that you'd expect on a cruise ship, you'll have it. So you're not going to find big resort ships with water parks and really unusual rock climbing walls and go-karts and ice rinks and all that kind of resort stuff. So it's a pretty traditional ship in terms of facilities, and the format of cruising is pretty traditional. So you'll find it runs a fairly traditional cruising program. So even down to dining, where they still have the traditional early and late sittings, or you could also choose to have anytime dining. So there are obviously some nods to modern cruising trends, but it's a pretty traditional experience. So if that's the sort of cruise you like, and I think that's a big pro, there's not lots of fancy bells and whistles around the Princess experience. Linked to that, and part of that, is a lot of their entertainment and activities are enrichment focused. So they have partnerships, for example, with excursions with things like the Discovery Channel and Animal Planet. They will have guest speakers on board. They'll have cooking classes and demonstrations. So quite a enrichment focused activity, which I think is a big pro if you're looking for that. Another really big pro of Princess Cruises is actually a big innovation, and that's the Ocean Medallion device and the app. So Princess Cruises were the first cruise line to introduce this, the Ocean Medallion, which is a wearable device. And it's a very clever device, and their fleet is slowly being converted to that. And ships like the one I'm on now, Sky Princess, is built with it integrated into the whole system. And it's designed to help make the cruising experience much more personalized and also much smarter. So for example, the sort of things you can do with Ocean Medallion is it helps you check in much faster because you've uploaded all your information, your passport details, photographs. So you then, depending on which country you're in, you can either get sent the Ocean Medallion in advance, or in some countries you have to pick it up when you check in. But you get onto the ship really quickly. It also then becomes your card. So it's a thing that you will clock in and out of the ship on. You can use it to buy things with. And importantly, it does a couple other things. So for example, as you head towards your cabin, it recognizes you and it unlocks your cabin. You can also use it to do things like order drinks or buy things wherever you are on the ship and get it delivered to you, because a smart device, the crew is able to track you down. So you can be sitting by the pool and you can order a drink and they know where you are. It also means that over time, the crew get to know your preferences, so they can start to tailor service much more for you. It also helps you unlock a whole lot of features, both on an app, which you can have on your smartphone, or on these big interactive screens around the ship, where you can do things like you can have a look at the daily program and you can plan your activities. You can track your friends and family. You can find out where they are on the ship. You can message them and arrange to meet them. You can also play various interactive games. You can even, if you want to, play things like bingo and gamble with a combination of the device and the app. So the smart device is really designed to make your cruising experience much more personalized, because the crew can start to know your preferences, but also to simplify and speed up a lot of the activities around the ship. And I have a whole separate video about the whole Ocean Medallion process. But certainly that whole smart technology is making the whole cruising experience smoother, more personalized, and much easier. So what then are some of the cons of cruising with Princess Cruises? Well, the first one, and probably I think the biggest one, is that the fact that their fares are not all-inclusive. So when you do book a Princess Cruise, you need to be aware of what the extra charges are. So let me talk you through some of those. So your fare includes obviously lots of dining options. So you can have lots of casual dining options and formal dining options. So the main dining rooms, you have things like, for example, on this ship, you have the Salty Dog Grill, you have Slights Pizza, you have Alfredo's Pizzeria, you have the World Fresh Marketplace and the Horizon Buffet, you have the International Cafe. So lots of food is included. All your entertainment's included, and access to pretty much all of the facilities are included, with one key exception, which is the Sanctuary, which is a very quiet space where you do pay to get access to. So lots of things are included. So what's not included? What will you have to pay extra for? Well, gratuities are charged extra, and they're normally added on board, although you can, depending on when you're booking, prepay those in advance. So gratuities at the time of recording were $16.50 per person per day in a suite, $15.50 per person in a mini suite and club class, $14.50 per person per day per guest in an interior ocean view or balcony staterooms. You'll also have gratuities of 18% added to drinks you buy and things like the spa. Excursions are not included, so those obviously are extras, and you can decide how many of those you do. Drinks are not included. They do have various drinks packages though, which will include both alcoholic drinks, non-alcoholic drinks, sodas, for example, and coffees. So for example, they have a Premier beverage package, which is $59.99 per person per day. They have a Premier coffee and soda package, which is $19.99 per person per day, and a classic soda package, which is $9.99 per person per day. There are also some dining options that are not included within the price, so a couple of specialty dining options. These differ slightly based on the ship, but for example, I'll give you an example of Sky Princess, which I'm on when I'm recording this. What do they have? So they have one of the Princess Classics, which is the Crown Grill, which is a steakhouse. They have Sabatini's, which is a really nice Italian restaurant, which is extra and across many of the ships. They also have the Ocean Terrace Seafood Bar, which is the sushi, and they also have the Bistro sur la Mer, which is the seafood restaurant. They also on many ships have a gelato shop where you do have to pay extra for as well. So one of the downsides of a Princess Cruise fare is once you're on board, there are going to be extras, gratuities, drinks, specialty dining, and excursions. The other big one, of course, is Wi-Fi. Now, they are actually introducing really fast Wi-Fi as they roll out the Ocean Medallion, and they have Medallion Net, which is a really fast Wi-Fi. And at the time of recording, that was $9.99 per day. And I must say it was really, really fast Wi-Fi. I was very impressed with the Wi-Fi. So those are the main costs that you will be paying extra above your fare on Princess. The next key con is, I think Princess is probably really catering much more for couples. It is a slightly more mature crowd, and certainly, as I mentioned earlier, people who like traditional cruising experience. It is very much a more mature couples experience. Not saying that it doesn't have families on board, so certainly you'll get quite a few families on board, and particularly multi-generational families on board during the summer and sort of Christmas holiday season period. But the overall experience, the entertainment, the food, the excursions, I think are really very much for that sort of crowd. So there are probably other lines that cater even better for families than Princess Cruises do. So it really is very much a mature couples experience. Linked to that, I think another big con of Princess Cruises, if you're a solo traveler, Princess Cruises is not really catering for you. So there are no solo cabins on board their ships, and they don't, unlike some lines, offer lots of solo discounts. So you're likely to find you're going to be paying up to 100% surcharge if you are going on a Princess Cruise. So certainly as a solo traveler, Princess Cruises is probably a real downside because there's not a lot of flex in terms of finding a good fare through a cabin or deals. They do cater for solo travelers on board, so they'll have things like solo traveler meetups as well. So they do cater for you once you're on board, but financially it's probably a downside for Princess. The next con of Princess Cruises is for those people who have an issue with dressing up. So Princess Cruises, being fairly traditional, does have a dress code. Most of the nights are smart casual, so that's sort of, they describe it as the sort of things you'd wear out for an evening in a restaurant. So they do encourage men, for example, to wear slacks, not really jeans, although you probably can get away with dark, smart jeans in practice. I certainly saw that a lot across the cruises that I've been on. On smart casual evenings, they do really expect you to wear things like collared shirts, maybe long sleeve shirts, and more slack type stuff, and ladies the sort of equivalent. But they do have formal nights where you'll find everything from tuxedos through to suit and tie, and that is the expectation. You'll normally find there's a formal night roughly once every 5 days. So if you're on a cruise of 5 to 7 days, you'll have at least one formal night. And there is an expectation and requirement really that you stick to the dress code. So if you're the sort of person that really hates dressing up and you want to be able to wear jeans or shorts or whatever, then definitely Princess Cruises is not the right cruise line for you. Princess Cruises has a lot of pros. It has some cons for some people. If you found this helpful, I have lots of other videos about cruising and Princess Cruises, so why don't you watch another one of those right now?